And welcome to Vikings Postgame Live, presented by Mystic Lake. I'm Mark Rosen, live here at U.S. Bank Stadium. A crushing loss for the Vikings, given how hard they worked to get back into the playoff race with those 3 straight divisional wins. But they lose to the Dallas Cowboys here, 31-28 this afternoon. I'm joined by Pete Bercich and Pete and Ben Leber. Especially
all season, and you come in here and give up almost 200 yards of rushing to the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't think we played well enough to win today. We had our opportunities, made too many mistakes, 3 fumbles in the first half, lost 2. We had too many penalties, weren't good in the red zone on defense today, and then, obviously we can't get the 4th down play to win the game. So you got to get back to work. We had a good week of practice. We just didn't play well enough, I don't think.
Mike, what did you see from your vantage point on Dalton's last TD pass, and how'd the guy get so open?
I don't know. I didn't see it. Some kind of pick route or something.
Mike, did you feel the team had the energy in the first half? They weren't overlooking this game at all going in?
Yeah, I thought in the locker room before the game and in pregame, I said they're ready to go today. And, we came out and got a 3-and-out on defense. Fumbled the punt, I think, right after that. So there was I think we started out slow offensively today. Played a lot better in the second half, and then defensively we didn't play as well in the second half. I don't think we got pressure on Dalton, and and we weren't as good against the run either.
Mike, you lost the momentum when Pollard got that touchdown. You had the momentum, and then I don't know if it was Chris Jones that missed the tackle, and then it just seemed to kind of go down from there.
Yeah, well, I think, Don, we came back and scored right away. Offensively, maybe that was, and then we got a 3-and-out on defense, and then we didn't do much the next time we had the ball offensively. So, we scored enough points to win. We didn't play well enough at the end.
Hey, Mike, did you think that there could have been a helmet-to-helmet on that strip sack of Cousins?
Yes, and I also thought the hit on Harrison Smith was clean. There was a lot of those things, but that's not why we lost. But there was a lot of those things today, I thought.
Mike, what did you see breakdown on the fake punt there in the first half, and then I think it was on the redo, there was the illegal block in the back?
Yeah, well, both those penalties were on Chris Boyd. He didn't get set for a second, and then he shoved the guy in the back. You can't do that.
Mike, how's the mood of the team? You guys have fought so hard, winning 3 in a row, and then losing a game like this when you had a chance to get back to the 500 level.
It's fine.
Hey, Mike, you brought up the slow start offensively. What do you think contributed to that?
I'm not sure exactly. We were getting, here and there little bits in the run game. It wasn't explosive. I think, if you look back in the ball game, they were 2nd and 5 a lot, and we were 2nd and 8, I think first down was probably a big key throughout the game. We were much better in the second half offensively, but defensively we just weren't quite as good with it.
Mike, you talk about penalties. You guys had 8 in the game, and it always seems like, just like I said before, right when you got momentum, you lost momentum. There'd be big splash plays, and then something else would go wrong. Did you feel in the second half, though, that it was going to clean up and there wouldn't be so sloppy on those penalties? Yeah,
I did. I really felt like we were going to win the ball game throughout the whole course of the game, even as bad as we started off, offensively, because we were clicking again in the second half offensively, and unfortunately Dalton made some plays. He scrambled on 3rd down a couple times, where we had good spots. Good pressure on him early in the game, and then at the end of the game, we couldn't come up with a 4th down play to win the game. And we weren't good. We weren't good in the red zone either.
And Mike, obviously special teams. Obviously, special teams was a big focus for you guys. Did you see any steps in the right direction in that front?
Yeah, I think some of it. I thought the snaps were good. I thought we had some good coverage on some of it. The one time we missed the tackle and the ball kind of got outside. So we worked real hard on it this last week. We're going to work real hard on it again.
Was that a difficult decision to replace your long snapper this weekend? Did you see Andrew being the long-term guy at that position now?
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, upon further review, we are back after some technical difficulties. Mark Rosen along with Pete Bercich listening to the news conference from very upset, I'm sure in his own mind, Mike Zimmer, as he said the Vikings had this game, he thought, won a number of times despite some early first half problems, fumbling the ball, turning it over. But the defense, Pete Bercich, just let them down. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Kirk Cousins put up the numbers. Dalvin Cook put up the numbers. Adam Thielen did. But defensively, the Vikings could not stop a Dallas team that was shooting itself in the foot, which led to their 2-7 record coming in here today.
Well, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott didn't have 100-yard rushing all this season. He gets over 100 today. You give up 180 yards total on the ground. And the biggest offensive play that Dallas had today was a 42-yard run. And if you're going to play a bend but don't break defense, and by that I mean you're keeping your safeties back, you might be a little bit soft on the run. You don't exactly have a guy for every gap. And you're going to allow them to be efficient. You can't let them be explosive. That's the whole point. Bend, but don't break. And when you do allow a 42-yard run like that, that's breaking on the running game.
Yeah, they never really made Andy Dalton feel uncomfortable throughout the game. He's been around the league for a long time. They had opportunities to get after him, as we saw they did a week ago in Chicago, but just didn't happen. And Dalton showed the poise of a veteran, especially in that last drive, especially in that fourth down completion, which saved the game for Dallas.
Yeah, he did. We got to him a little bit. He had a couple batted down passes. You taking a look here at his scatter chart, and a lot of that stuff is 10 yards or less underneath. And so we kept him to a short timing passing game. A lot of empty sets for them. As well, but nice throw to CeeDee Lamb in the end zone for a touchdown. He played as well as he needed to. The one big scramble for the first down was a big play. Now we're taking a look at Cousins' chart, kind of a lot of the same, but off of play action. I think Cousins did a lot more damage, off the play action, and had a very, his passer rating was perfect, I think, today. So just a great, efficient day for Kirk Cousins.
As the game wore on, it looked like Kirk and the offense could basically do what they wanted to do with the passing game, but because the defense just didn't allow them to kind of get back on the field and close this thing out, the Vikings had a 3-and-out, and that was it. So, meanwhile, Kirk Cousins is speaking in the media right now. Let's catch up with what the Vikings quarterback had to say.
Yeah, just a heartbreaking loss today. It was hard fought. It was a back-and-forth game. It's one of those games, and so many NFL games are like this, but where one or two plays, makes the difference in the end. That going into the game, you feel that during the game, but we just didn't come out on the right side of enough of those plays to win the game, obviously. And there's still a lot of football to be played. We got to bounce back quickly and get back on track. But there are positives to point to. But ultimately, when you don't win, you leave the stadium just feeling sick to your stomach. So I'll take any questions you have.
Kirk, what did you see there in the second half, to get the offense going again? I know Adam had that 51-yard reception off the deep crosser. I mean, what sparked that momentum for you guys coming out there in that first series?
Yeah, I thought getting the bootlegs going was a big help to us in the second half. We didn't get at those early, and we were able to kind of take advantage of those on the big play to Adam and on the touchdown to Adam and on a couple to Rudy, and that was positive. And then I thought we had good productive runs in the second half as well, which were positive. And it was kind of a mix, a run and pass and different ways of doing it, and we had a good rhythm to us.
Kirk, along those lines, the offense was pretty much unstoppable in the first three drives of the second half, but then you bogged down in the last two. What was kind of the difference and why you couldn't move the ball those last two drives?
Just individual plays. We had one where they kind of loaded us up in zone and threw incomplete, and then on third down, worked at him on that out route, and it was tight coverage and didn't hit it. And then, in the 2 minutes, same thing. Got the completion on first down, second down, didn't get it. And then, third down, didn't get the out route to Adam there either. And then, fourth down, played off schedule and didn't get that either. So it was just kind of a couple different plays.
Kirk, it was definitely a back and forth.
Quarterback Kirk Cousins, again, 22 out of 30 for 314 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and it looked like it was going to be his day in the second half, Pete Bercich, because of the way that, the Cowboys exerted some pressure on him early in the game, but once Dalvin Cook got rolling, the pressure backed off, and basically he could do whatever he wanted to do because his receivers were running wide open.
Well, it was the amount and schematically what the Dallas Cowboys did in order to stop the run. They had 5 defensive linemen on the line of scrimmage. They were dropping some of those guys in coverage. They made an all-out effort. They're a 4-man front type of team. This week, all of a sudden, they have, after the bye, you get 5 guys on the line of scrimmage. They're packing the inside, of that defense, and so you have to start taking advantage of it on the outside, and I think that's what they did at halftime. The play calls and the selection in the second half, they made a lot of good adjustments, and when you have someone like Kubiak, who's pretty much seen everything there possibly is as an offensive coordinator, you're able to make those adjustments at halftime. So Dallas made a huge effort to stop Dalvin Cook, but we capitalized it. When you have Anthony Brown one-on-one with either Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen, you have to take advantage of that, and we were able to in the second half. And you look at the way Thielen really 8 receptions, 123 yards. He had an unbelievable grab again in the end zone for a touchdown. He basically outclassed what the Dallas Cowboys were able to put out there on the edge in defense, and they put their corners on islands because they had so many guys inside, and we took advantage of it, especially the first few series of the second half. But when the end of the game came about and we became a drop back passing team, you can no longer run fake. No one's going to bite on a run fake in a 2-minute type situation. Drop by Jefferson, just not making a play here or there.
Yeah, just not being sharp enough. You see Adam Thielen leading the National Football League in touchdown receptions now with 11, one more than Devontae Adams of the Green Bay Packers. But as they say, some statistics are for losers. This is not something. And the Dallas Cowboys came in here at 2-7 record, but they're in the NFC East. They could win this division going away if they win 6 games.
Well, they have another game. They have another division game or a division game this Thursday, so it's quite possible that they could play on Thanksgiving Day and go eat dinner that evening and be the class of that division, the NFC East. So, but that's not our problem. Our problem is you had a short week. You're playing a team that had a bye. They made some adjustments, but you shot yourself in the foot. Yeah, there was some of the officiating was very, very questionable. I think Zimmer, obviously, out of they can get fined for saying too many things, but out of fairness, was saying it was. I think you made the point, but you can't. You have a team in here that's minus 13 in the take-give. Dallas was 30th in producing turnovers, and then 30th in giving up fumbles. And then we come out today, and we're the ones fumbling the football. You can't do that. You cannot make those kinds of mistakes, this late in the year because you can't always overcome them.
Yeah, especially working so hard to get them back in the position that they did going into today's game with Dallas. Dalvin Cook, 27 rushes, 115 yards. Again, a locomotive doing what he had to do, and Dalvin's speaking to the media right now.
Dalvin, obviously, the play you came across the middle was a pretty big hit, but, man, it just seemed like the whole game, was that as violent an effort you've seen a defense put on you in a while? It looked like you took more big hits today than I remember you seeing.
It's football. I can't count the hits, but the one across the middle was a good hit, but it's football. I think we did a pretty good job on the ground today, sticking with it, staying with it. We gave ourselves a chance to win, just didn't pull it off. But, we knew the type of team we was facing, fast team, coming off a bye week, fresh team. Do a lot of movement, runs fast, just don't got the wins to show it. So they're a great team.
Calvin, how badly
was it just a matter of
how badly were you shaken up on that play because you were down on the field for a little bit there?
Yeah, I got hit good. It was a good hit.
Was that just a matter, Dalvin, in the second half of sticking with the run? Did anything change differently? Sorry, I can't hear out of this ear. Did anything change differently? Do you seem like you guys were more productive in some of like the big runs and able to kind of set up the pass better in the second half?
No, we just had turnovers. We never got on schedule in the first half. The first half was just like, it was all a blur. Just like we couldn't get on schedule to get going to where we wanted to go. And I think, once we came out the second half, guys just seen, if we stay on schedule and we do the things we need to do to win this game, we could win it. And I think they probably stopped us once in the second half, and it was just like we could have did the same thing in the first half, but we just never got on schedule to make those plays.
Dalvin, does it make it even more frustrating in that second half? You guys were gaining the momentum. When Pollard scores, you guys come back. Jefferson gets one. I mean, you guys look like you were gaining that momentum back.
Yeah, we definitely had something going. Just couldn't get that one last push in, and I think that's what it was about. But I think it's a lot of stuff that we could look at from this film and correct. It's a lot of good. It's definitely some bad on it. I think we could grow from it more than anything. But, you got to tip your hats to the Dallas Cowboys for coming in this thing and pulling off a win.
Dalvin, where does this team go from here? You had a chance to get the 500. Now you got to win 2 in a row just to kind of get back into the race.
Keep fighting. That's not our mentality. We don't care about the wins and losses right now. We just want to keep getting better. And I think as a group, you see a young, hungry group and just want to get better. And I think that's our mindset. Just accept the coaching that we about to accept this week. Watch the film tomorrow and just get better. We want to make the playoffs. That's our ultimate goal, to get into the playoffs. But we got to get better as a whole, and I think that's our mindset.
Dalvin, is it hard for you to enjoy, obviously, in a loss, your personal successes, right? You surpass Adrian Peterson for yards from scrimmage in 4 games. You've done so well. Then you also see Adam Thielen have another career game. But it's all for naught in your mind if it doesn't come away with the W?
Yeah, we got to win. That's most important. That's how I lay my head down and go to sleep at night, off a win. Those losses sometimes keep you up at night just watching tape, trying to see what you could get better at. And I just took a better than I am, but this one was tough. We got to play better. We got to do things better. We got to start faster. And, this week, we just got to have a sense of urgency of doing that.
And the words of Dalvin Cook as we welcome Ben Leber into the conversation, along with Pete Bercich, Mark Rosen here as well. And it's just, Ben Leber, just that empty feeling you've experienced many times when things are going well. You win 3 in a row. You beat 3 divisional opponents, and then you're 7-point favorites, which is probably a little bit high over a Dallas team that probably is better than the record indicates. At the same time, you expected them to kind of implode, and it just didn't happen today.
Yeah, this was the type of approach that worried me going into this game, was our team feeling really good about themselves, getting a lot of pats on the back, a lot of people around the national football media really starting to turn their attention to Justin Jefferson and Thielen, Dalvin Cook, how well our defense had been playing. Then all of a sudden you get a Dallas Cowboys team in which everybody said, oh, they're dead in the water. They have nothing to play for. They got a lot of dissension in the locker room. It was one of those type of games, and they came out faster. They came out more aggressive. And like Dalvin was saying, offensively, there was no rhythm in the first half. And I can understand why he said it was kind of a blur. He doesn't really remember much because there wasn't a whole lot of rhythm and nothing to really hang your hat on. And we just kind of didn't make enough plays, and they did, and they stayed aggressive and physical throughout.
Yeah, you just said it, aggressive and physical. That's what Dallas looked like in the first half till the Vikings got rolling. And Pete Bercich, looking at Dalvin's numbers, if you didn't know the final score, I went, well, looks like a pretty good win for the Vikings considering if you compare his numbers with Kirk Cousins' numbers.
Right.
How do you lose this game?
No, you're exactly right. And 27 carries on 115 yards for him. 4.3 per carry, very efficient. He didn't have any of the big trademark type runs. I think he did some of the best running I've seen him do all year today, bouncing off guys and being physical. And again, I go back to what Dallas did schematically from personnel to stop and slow down Dalvin Cook in the first half. They were able to sort those things out in the second half and then take advantage of what Dallas was doing. It just took a little while for the Vikings to get there. The other part that's disappointing to me is just against a very good Chicago Bears defensive front, we played on their sideline. I mean, you didn't see a bunch of Chicago Bears playing on our side of the line of scrimmage, whereas tonight you saw white jersey after white jersey in the Minnesota Viking backfield, and that really disrupted the running game. So just the quickness and all those things from a defense standpoint, they looked fresh, they played fresh, and, it just took too long for us to wear them down.
And, Ben, getting back to the running back matchup, Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, one of the biggest names in the NFL. Amari Cooper, one of the biggest names in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, one of the top rookies in the NFL. Yet, again, the perception was it's Dallas. As you mentioned, they're having issues. They're 2-7, but they're in an NFC East that is so wide open right now, it's laughable. At the same time, Mike McCarthy's the head coach going, guys, we got a chance to win this division. We win this game today, we're back in the conversation to win it.
Yeah, the thing is, I know a lot of Viking fans aren't going to like this, but you have to give McCarthy a lot of credit. He's working with a patchwork offensive line. He moves his all-pro right guard to right tackle for the first time ever playing right tackle. They changed their approach to go quick game, so we couldn't get pressure on Andy Dalton, and they just converted first down after first down after first down.
That was my point about last week we talked about the pregame show with Eric Kendricks, who made that wonderful interception today. Kind of the cat and mouse game they played with Nick Foles. If we look at the comparison with Lamb and Jefferson, Lamb making that spectacular one-handed catch, Jefferson with the touchdown reception and the long pass from Cousins. But the Vikings never seemed to really kind of make Dalton uncomfortable today. And that was the thing that was kind of surprising given the way they played on Monday night.
Yeah, they really didn't. And again, I think that was the game plan, and really shouldn't have surprised us much, which is why, Pete and I were talking during the game. That's why you saw far less blitzing from us, because you can blitz, and now you're bringing 5 or 6 extra guys in total, and that's really compromising your secondary when because of the quick game nature, the ball's going to come out. So you're blitzing to nothing, and you're just going to hang your secondary out to dry. So we played a little more too high safeties. We tried to stop the run with the 7-man box. And so I think we understood what their approach was. They just made more plays than us.
And you got to give them credit. They were very patient with the running game. I mean, with Ezekiel Elliott, they averaged 5.8 yards per carry, but it wasn't until the big run that pushed them to that big number. But they were getting 3, 4, 5 yards a carry, and they were happy with that. They saw 2 safeties deep. They handed the ball off. They let Elliott, keep churning and moving, running, doing his physical style of running game. And like I said before, when you're going to bend like that, right? You're okay, but you have to make the offense earn it. You might get some 3rd and 3s and some 3rd and 2s, and then you have to get make a stop here or there. And we did a few times, but to break down and let a 42-yard run happen, you can't allow that to occur.
Yeah, fundamentally, Dallas just did not make many mistakes at all today. If you're just joining us, let's look at the highlights today's game with Dallas won, of course, and started off pretty good. The Vikings at least blocked an extra point.
How about Eric Wilson being a box scorer, honey? You know what I mean? It's like 3 interceptions. I don't know how many fumble recoveries. He's doing everything.
The Vikings then giving Dalvin Cook a chance. Second effort here.
Van Der Esch stepping up and just a big hit. But Dalvin Cook, he looked – I think tonight was one of his better football games with his running style.
Ben, this was a great interception by Kirk Cousins.
This one got me out of my seat. I mean, you had the tight end going behind. The ball was a little thrown behind, but my heavens. I mean, he literally picked that thing out of the air.
Well, it's the reaction skills and the athleticism to pull that off.
Speaking of reaction skills, how about CeeDee Lamb here?
Not much you can do about this. This is a great throw and a great catch. It was really, but it's how they got down there. That's the question you have to ask.
Look at that body control.
And here's another one. Look at this one coming. You got that one? I got this one, says Adam Thielen.
2 weeks in a row where Adam Thielen has made just unbelievable catches in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, he got that going all right. Kirk Cousins with the bootleg. Easy touchdown pass to Thielen, his second of the day. Again, the Vikings unstoppable for the most part until late in the game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and they're taking advantage of this is all taking advantage of the guys that are out there. Anthony Brown, Rashard Robinson. I mean, Justin Jefferson. You get the 2 receivers on the one side. You have a mismatch all the way across the board, and you get Justin Jefferson in for the touchdown.
And here's the final touchdown. It looked like a little pick play, but easy one for them, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming off a bye week. Their 2-point conversion was a thing of beauty, super creative with that play. And then you get everybody moving to the right side, and then you just have the tight end just kind of sneak onto the backside. And actually, if you look at it, too, it looks like Gladney left his guy wide open. So if the tight end wasn't open, there's a guy running right into the goalpost. So, unfortunately, busted coverage in a lot of areas.
Let's take a look at Adam Thielen's day. Again, the 2 touchdown receptions, leading the National Football League now. And I'll let you guys break this one down. This is just a spectacular play. No other way you can diagram this.
This is backyard football. This is one-on-one, in space, and a great throw by Cousins. That ball put exactly where it needs to be. And this double move right there, that's where Thielen excels. And Brown holds on to him, and Thielen draws a penalty but doesn't need it.
Now the Vikings cashing into the red zone again with the play action.
Exactly. I mean, they're watching Dalvin Cook, and they're seeing what he's doing. They know this is not a handoff, but again, you're out there against Rashard Robinson, who just got plucked up off the practice squad, and he's going to be a little bit rusty, and we should abuse him like we did there.
Yeah, and then Thielen did it, but the biggest problem was, again, it goes back to that look at Adams' chart for today, receiver route chart. He was all over the field.
Yeah, he was. 8 receptions, 123 yards. The big number, again, for all our receivers, Ben, is that yards after catch, 48 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, Jefferson the same way.
Yeah, and to go back to the first touchdown catch, the one-handed one. I mean, the throw that Kirk had. I mean, that ball was coming out and being lofted as he was making his second break. So the symmetry and the connection that they have is just incredible.
And that's what makes it so frustrating, because you see Thielen and Cousins doing their thing. Kirk was getting more and more comfortable. The pressure had subsided for the most part that he saw in the first half. And I'm thinking to myself, no matter what Dallas does, if the Vikings get the ball last, they're going to win this football game and find a way to get down there. Jefferson, unfortunately, dropped that ball on third down, which really, or was it second down, I can't remember, that really kind of set the tone for that last drive.
Yeah, it did. And I think that if there's anything, there's one thing you could say the offense lacked today is a drop-back type passing game. I mean, the passing game was unbelievable. It was lights out when it was the play action. That starts with Dalvin Cook. That means you have time. But when you start getting in these 2-minute situations and defenses know you can't run the football, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough timeouts, then what do you do? Then you got to get back to the drop-back type passing game. I love the catches that Kyle Rudolph made. I mean, there's so much good that happened, especially in the second half. I think that was all about the adjustments that they made at halftime, but you just made one too many mistakes early in this game that you couldn't overcome.
Yeah, just too much stuff that happened in that first half. The Vikings' inability to kind of make some plays happen. The play, Cousins got sacked on that play, and he did take a hit. I know they looked like it was fumble, but helmet to helmet, you can't challenge that stuff either, Ben, can you?
No, and like I said, it's two really good just defensive plays. I mean, he gets corralled off the get-go. He's going down to the ground. Their defender comes off the corner on a blitz, puts his helmet right on the football. I mean, it's one of those things like, yes, you want to have better ball security, but they get paid too, and they're allowed to make plays as well. And so they made a play there, and again, the Dalvin Cook fumble, that's a heck of a defensive play too. I mean,
it was.
You break downhill on that angle route, and you put your helmet and your shoulder pad right on the football. A lot of guys are going to cough that ball up.
Yeah, he did take that extra second step, so I don't think it was really a question whether it was.
Yeah.
He did have full possession of that football. Eric Kendricks, another Eric Kendricks type game with the interceptions. Take a look at his breakdown today as well, because he's always in the mix, always leading the team in tackles, and the 2 former linebackers can discuss this one.
Well, you can totally see how Dalton Schultz is bending this behind him. Play action, he steps up and he's coming open, and the ball was just barely underthrown, but he snatched this thing out of midair. That's why I yelled when he caught it. I was like, the ball was on its way, and the hands. I mean, he's very underrated in his zone coverage. He gets an interception. The one that he had last week on the out and up by the tight end was a thing of beauty. He's playing ridiculously well in pass coverage, and I haven't seen anybody like that since 51 next to me. He's out there running around covering tight ends all over the place.
Well, how about almost a game clincher in that final drive?
Absolutely.
I mean, stuck his hand out.
Stuck his hand out, got his paw on there. I mean, can you imagine if he walked away from this game with 2 interceptions, and not just 2 interceptions, the last one would have been a game-winning interception. So he puts himself in great position. He just understands the route coverages. He understands his landmarks, where he can cheat some of those landmarks. He's a phenomenal player, very smart player.
Maybe you do have to tip your cap a little bit to Andy Dalton. I mean, Dak Prescott's out for the year. This guy's been around the block a bunch of times. He's taken a beating. He just came off a concussion. that was a pretty damn impressive performance by Andy Dalton under the circumstances today.
It was, and some of the throws that they asked him to make were, I think, the big ones, or a lot of them off the play action, and then just throwing a hard slant either to Schultz or to Amari Cooper. And that's kind of awareness on the defensive backs, that they have to move inside, stay inside. So he made some of those difficult throws, scrambled when he had to. He kind of just did what he had to do. And really stayed out of the way, so to speak. He didn't lose the game that way. He didn't do anything to push him over the edge.
Well, and that's exactly why people pick up former starting quarterbacks as your backup quarterback. And I think some people forget that, Dak's out, they're going to bring a backup quarterback in. Well, he's not just any backup quarterback. He was a starting quarterback and a high-end starting quarterback for a long time. And so just because he's on the bench and he's considered a number 2, he absolutely can make some plays.
It's kind of like the Joe Flacco's of the world. He's been around a long time. This will make you in particular very happy, but let's take a look at the other scores. Wait, I thought the Packers were up by 14 points at halftime. They were.
Well, I had the Colts winning by a factor of 10 more. I had the Colts by 30, but I'll take it.
Wow, what a shootout between Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers. The Colts kicking a field goal in overtime to knock off Green Bay, although they have at least a pretty comfortable lead, I think, in the division at the moment, 34-31. Oh, my, the Detroit Lions get shut out by the Carolina Panthers, who the Vikings play next week here, correct?
Yeah, we play on the Carolina Panthers. I mean, this is, Ben, this is surprising. I mean, I thought that Detroit would have at least something with all the people out for Carolina, but apparently Carolina, I don't know what's going on in Detroit. Holy cow.
Take a look at the standings. Green Bay, despite the loss with a 2-game lead over the idle Chicago Bears, who have their own problems to fix. The Vikings, after those 3 straight division wins, fall to 4-6, along with the Lions, who are free-falling right now at the bottom of the division as well, tied with Vikings at 4-6. But, I don't know. There's still a bunch of games to play, and the Vikings have this string of games. You look at the opponent's record. Start with Dallas today. They got Carolina, then Jacksonville. But again, you prove that we can look ahead to other games. The Vikings found out the hard way. You can't look further than what's just in front of you right there today.
Well, and for Dallas, again, they took the Pittsburgh Steelers down to the wire with Garrett Gilbert. He threw an interception in the red zone and kept them. I mean, so Dallas is not. And we've been saying it all week. It's not like we're just making this thing up. They're not a horrific football team. They've been killing themselves with turnovers, and today they only gave up 1. We gave up 2. So they're going to be in games like this.
So, Ben, is it again, about the process? We heard Dalvin Cook go, I can't worry about the playoffs at all. You've been through winning teams, losing teams. As a player, and you got a disappointing loss like that, you just have to kind of keep your eye on accepting the process that you're going through. I think John Sullivan talked about that the other day as well, former teammate of yours, a former center, that you just have to stick your nose to the grindstone. It's an old cliche, but you really do. What other choice do you have? You're a professional. You're getting paid to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can use any sort of slogans or anything that you want, but as a player and as a unit and as a team, you have to have this mindset where you have to prove it every day. You have to prove it. I don't care what people are going to say about you, positive things, negative things. You've got to prove it every day. Not just on Sundays. They have to prove it to themselves on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as they prep. And, again, it does start with the fundamentals and the little things. How often do we talk about the games are won in the trenches? Where did we lose this football game? In the trenches. We could not protect, and we could not open up the running lanes the way we normally do because our offensive line got beat up by their more physical, their more twitchy, the more fast defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys, and that was a big difference. And we could not provide enough pressure with just a 4-man rush ourselves. So we lost the trenches battle. Yeah. It comes down to fundamentals, and sometimes it's that easy.
Getting back to next week's game with Carolina, Teddy Bridgewater did not play today. We don't know what his status is. I think every Viking fan would love to see Teddy at least get an opportunity to come back to U.S. Bank Stadium. It's how can you not be a fan of Teddy Bridgewater with what he's been through to see if he can come back? But that's up in the air right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater with the sprained knee. They're missing. That Carolina offense is also missing their McCaffrey, their best offensive player. So, who knows? And you hope that Teddy can come back and play here. You love the guy, but. That's how this season is. It's just so weird with who's in and who's out and who has the COVID thing and who doesn't. I mean, Ben, it's week after week. It's almost you could face an entirely different team.
Yeah.
I mean, timing is such a big part of this.
Well, and I would say let's not forget, I know that we're going to talk a lot about CMC. We're going to talk a lot about Teddy Bridgewater if he's healthy for this next week. But this this coach, Matt Rule, he's a defensive-minded, physical, old-school philosophy coach. His defense and his defensive line, he understands that's how you win football games. So we're going to talk an awful lot about their offense, but we can't, just like this game, you can't forget about those guys on the other side. They play hard too, and they have a very physical and aggressive defense as well as what we saw today by the score of their football game today.
Again, the final score, 31-28, the Dallas Cowboys over the Minnesota Vikings. I want to thank Ben Leber and Pete Bercich. And a reminder to join Adam Thielen and text SKOL to 24365 and donate $19 to help the Salvation Army fight hunger and empower youth in the Twin Cities community, especially this week, especially with the pandemic going on, especially with Thanksgiving coming up. A lot of families really in need of this, so really appreciate whatever you can do to help the Salvation Army more than ever. We want to thank everyone for joining us, and, of course, catch us right here next week on Vikings pregame all access starting at 11 a.m. before the Vikings kickoff against the Carolina Panthers as we preview the matchup against the Panthers. Good night, everyone.